Hi ho and hello, my name is the Bastard, and well, this time around I am going to make a review of Archen Games Bundle. All of these games have been made by Archen Games, and well, I just honestly feel like that I am not completely qualified to review these games. Actually, I can't even give these games a proper review because, in all honesty, they all were really time consuming, so it was really hard to get into those games, and that is why it is unfortunate that I cannot go into too much in detail of these games, but I'll try to explain a couple of points in these games that I came across. One of the things, for an example, in AI of Warfleet, which is a strategic star game, which kind of works like Command and Conquer, but not exactly like it. Well, there's another AI Warfleet Command kind of game that, which name I cannot remember, but it is a really time-consuming game. The tutorial alone takes a load of time. I mean, it takes about 2 hours to just go through the tutorial itself and get accustomed to things. So, when I finally got into the game itself, it was still confusing as heck, because this game, the AI Warfleet Command, it's not a small game. It's not like one-screen strategy game. It's enormous, and with enormous I do mean there are entire universe to explore. There are lots of areas to conquer, and also lots of enemies to destroy, and you kinda have to go base by base to well, star system by star system to destroy those enemies, and there are certain rules that are set to you in which way you can work these things around. This AI Warfleet Command, it's really complex. It really takes a lot of time to get into, so that is why I really didn't have too much time to play it. It seemed really alright, and then there is also this multiplayer online option in it, which is a really cool thing to have, especially in the strategy games. But, well, to me, that game is little bit too big. Little bit too big for to be reviewed just in 2 weeks, because that's basically what I had time to do in this review. Next game that I'd like to talk about is Bionic Dudes. The point of that game is that the Earth is being attacked by robots or whatever, menacing beings from another universe. I don't exactly remember the story. I managed to somehow get into that game, but still it was, well, it's big. Just like the AI Starfleet Command, it's big and complex and takes a lot of time to get used to. But the funniest thing I find in this game, it's being narrated by some guy who sounds like that guy who does those nature reviews.
Here are true facts about the owl. Baby owls are called owlets, and they look like a cotton ball that grew a face and legs. Owlets are born without flight feathers, and because they are vulnerable, they camouflage themselves as Muppets.
Anyways, the Bionic Dudes, it's you go around with these 4 robots that you can upgrade, and you kinda go through these maze kind of things, maze kind of game maps, in which you can hack certain doors and make enemies explode and stuff like that. You really have to be aware of your resources in this game. That's what I noticed in Bionic Dudes. It's a really resourceful game. You can upgrade your droids, but gameplay was kinda But overall, well, what I managed to get to play that game, it seemed alright. Skyward Collapse, honestly, I didn't get into that game at all. It kinda like seemed that it works sorta like some sort of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, except not. It had certain really complex rules that I just didn't understand that game. I'm sure that if you really manage to get into that game, it's really great, and it's really much fun. But for the likes of me, I just didn't manage to get into that game at all, so I cannot say much about Skyward Collapse itself. As for Daedalus, even Archen games, puzzle games, are complicated as heck. I just didn't understand that game at all. I just don't know what to say about Daedalus. You're supposed to make these lines that you are supposed to connect, and then they like rebound from each other, creating multiple scores, and I really don't know what to say about this game. I'm not really a puzzle master myself. I am not really into puzzle games. So Daedalus, it's really weird puzzle game. A Valley Without Wind and Valley Without Wind 2. Honestly, the same thing as the previous games. They are really complex. But the Valley Without Wind, it's a platforming game in which you can freely explore areas. You will get certain kind of skills in that game, and you can also acquire certain kinds of items that you can apparently combine together and use for some greater use. There are also some other items that you can use, like platforms for floating, and you can like explode trees and stuff like that, and it seemed like a really good concept. But again, it's like one of those early Amiga games that really required a lot of your time to get into. So if you plan to get this bundle, the Archen Games bundle, which I kinda can recommend for people who like complex games, and these games, they didn't seem bad. Don't get me wrong, they were complex, but complex doesn't mean bad. It just means that you have to spend a lot of time involving yourself in these games. So they seemed like really good games. Too bad I just didn't have enough time to get into them to give you a proper review out of them. So if you're into complex games, do give this a try. I'm quite sure that you'll love them. And again, I'd like to thank Sander for sending these games to me. I also like to apologize that I cannot give a proper review out of these games, but hey, you can always win. Anyways, I'm the Bastard. Have fun with the bundle, and see you in the next review.